Ever wondered how the internet knows where to find the website you're looking for? The answer lies in the Domain Name System, or DNS. It's like the phone book of the internet, translating human-friendly website names into computer-friendly IP addresses. But there's more to DNS than just this. It's a complex system with several different types of records, each having a unique purpose. These records range from A and AA records, which map domain names to IP addresses, to MX records that specify mail servers for a domain, and even TXT records that allow for the association of arbitrary text with a domain. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are many more DNS records, each playing a critical role in how the internet functions. Get ready to explore the world of DNS records and their types. Let's delve into our first DNS record types, the A and AAA records. The A record, or address record, is like the fundamental building block of the DNS. It's the one that maps a domain name to an IPv4 address. Think of it as the link between a website's name and its actual location on the internet. Now, the AAA record is its big brother, doing essentially the same job but for a different kind of address. This one maps a domain to an IPv6 address. IPv6 addresses came about due to the increasing demand for IP addresses and the limitations of IPv4. So whether it's an A or AAA record, both are crucial in making sure that when someone types in a domain name, they're directed to the right IP address. So the A and AAA records serve as the address book of the internet. Next up on our list are CNAME and MX records. Let's dive into what they are and what they do. A CNAME, or canonical name record, is a handy tool in the DNS toolbox. It allows you to create an alias of one domain to another. Imagine your website has a long and complicated URL. By setting up a CNAME record, you can create a shorter, more user-friendly URL that redirects to your original domain. It's like giving your website an easier-to-remember nickname that your visitors can use. Now let's talk about MX, or mail exchange records. These are the postmasters of the internet. They specify the mail servers responsible for receiving email on behalf of your domain. Whenever someone sends an email to an address at your domain, the MX record guides that email to the right server. These records ensure that your emails and redirects are functioning smoothly. Now, let's move on to TXT and PTR records. TXT, or text records, are incredibly versatile. They allow domain owners to associate any text they wish with their domain. This can range from simple, human-readable information to more complex data like SPF records. SPF, or Sender Policy Framework, is a type of TXT record that helps prevent email spoofing, increasing the security of your domain's email services. TXT records are also used for DKIM keys, another email authentication method that ensures the integrity of the message during transmission. On the other hand, we have PTR, or pointer records. These records are the mirror image of A and AAA records. Instead of mapping a domain to an IP address, they map an IP address back to a domain. This is called reverse DNS lookup. PTR records are a key part of email authentication, as they can help verify that the IP address sending an email matches the domain it claims to be from. TXT and PTR records are crucial for providing extra information in email authentication. Let's take a look at NS, SOA, and SRV records. NS, or name server records, are like the managers of the domain. They tell the internet which servers are authoritative for the domain. When you register a new domain, you'll usually specify at least 2 NS records that contain the host names of your DNS servers. Then we have the SOA, or Start of Authority record. This record is essentially the VIP of your domain's DNS. It contains crucial information about your domain and the zone, including the primary authoritative DNS server, the email of the domain administrator, the domain serial number, and timers for refreshing the zone. Lastly, let's talk about SRV, or service records. These records are a bit like the concierge of your domain. They define the location of services in the domain, such as SIP for VoIP services. SRV records offer a more granular control over service routing. These records are all about domain authority, zone information, and service location. Finally, we have CABLA, DNSKI, and NAPTR records. The CABLA, or Certification Authority Authorization record, is like a gatekeeper. It specifies which certificate authorities are allowed to issue certificates for a domain, adding an extra layer of security. Next up, we have the DNSKI, or DNS key record. This one's all about security too. It contains the public key used for DNSSECI, which is basically a suite of extensions that add an extra layer of security to the DNS. It's like having a bouncer for your DNS, ensuring everything is legit. Last but not least, we have the NAPTR, or Naming Authority Pointer Record. This one is a bit of a jack of all trades. It's used for various purposes, including transforming one type of URI to another and allowing for the delegation of services like SIP. The last set of records we discussed play a crucial role in security and service delegation. Now that we've covered the different types of DNS records, let's recap. A and AAA records map domain names to their respective IP addresses. CNAME records create aliases from one domain to another, while MX records specify mail servers for receiving emails. TXT records allow domain owners to associate arbitrary text with a domain, often used for SPF records and DKIM keys. PTR records, on the other hand, map an IP address back to a domain name. NS records specify the authoritative DNS servers for the domain, and SOA records contain information about the domain and the zone. SRV records define the location of services, while CEBA records specify which certificate authorities can issue certificates for a domain. DNSKey records contain the public key used for DNSSEC, and NAPTR records transform one type of URI to another. Remember, the combination of these DNS records is what makes your internet experience smooth and secure. Until next time, keep exploring the digital world.